Hey there, fellow educators. Welcome to another episode of Catching Up with Casey. We're going behind the scenes today. Today, we're going to learn all about how to use choice boards in a collaborative study. If you haven't caught up with my last couple of episodes, you're going to want to go back and check in on those. I take you behind the scenes of collaborative studies. I tell you all about planning collaborative studies, face-to-face sessions, and today, like I said, we're going to be jumping into what it looks like to implement choice boards after you've initiated your first face-to-face session. Here's the great thing about today. I'm going to leave you with not only a template, but also examples of how to use choice boards, but also the do's and the don'ts of using choice boards. Because guess what? There is a strategic way to use choice boards. As there's a strategic way to implement everything that I've told you about collaborative studies so far. Here's the other great thing. What I'm going to share with you today and what I've shared with you with the past couple of episodes is something that you can use even when you're collaborating and not calling it a collaborative study. So let's stick in there together. I'm going to take you through, first of all, what I believe as an educator. Second, what are collaborative studies exactly? What do we mean by this culture of collaboration that you keep hearing about? And finally, how you can use choice boards to reach that culture of collaboration. Last week I told you that in face-to-face sessions, you're going to want to start with why. And guess what? I'm going to start with why for every episode that I record. And today, I'm going to tell you again my why for coming to work every day and doing what I do. I believe in multiplying collaborative learning communities in which the vast majority of educators are eager and inspired to come to work, feel safe and empowered while at work, and end each day with a great sense of value and fulfillment. And how exactly do I go about doing that? Well, like I've told you, I implement collaborative studies. Now, in the beginning, when I started telling you all about collaborative studies, I really wanted to get across this idea of re-energizing PLCs. And it's true, collaborative studies is one way you can start to build a culture of collaboration so that your PLCs can be re-energized. However, if you're simply wanting your teams to be able to collaborate and collaborate well, where you're noticing collective efficacy, then collaborative studies is another way to do just that. What are collaborative studies? They are simply strategically organized opportunities for meaningful collaboration. Opportunities where you, the instructional leader, get to facilitate this meaningful collaboration. Because again, there is a strategic process to this. I suggest you implement collaborative studies as a way to build that culture of collaboration. But again, we have to know what exactly we mean when we say culture of collaboration, because it's easy to say that we want to collaborate. And sometimes in our mind's eye, when we think about collaboration, we picture two or more people working together on something. But collaboration goes so much deeper than simply two people working together. Here's the definition that I brought up to you last week. Interpersonal collaboration is a style for direct interaction between at least two co-equal parties voluntarily engaged in shared decision-making as they work toward a common goal. Last week, I shared all about some of the core components of that definition, such as co-equal parties, voluntarily engaged, and finally, common goal. And when we think about culture, we're thinking about the beliefs, the behaviors, and values that come together to form a culture. So, if we have a belief that collaboration is imperative in reaching a common goal, then we value strong and meaningful collaboration. And if this is the case, then we will make decisions and carry out behaviors that make collaboration successful. Here's why you need to build a culture of collaboration, because it fosters collective efficacy. When two people are voluntarily engaged toward a common goal, then collective efficacy is present. Just as stated in the definition for collaboration, we want to work toward a common goal. The second reason you need to build a culture of collaboration is so people feel valued, safe, and joyful at work. I want you to think about that. If I am building this culture of collaboration, then I'm going to notice teams of people who are safe, who are safe enough and vulnerable enough to bring their thoughts and ideas to the table, who feel safe and vulnerable enough to not only bring their ideas to the table, but to leave feeling as though they have provided something, feeling that sense of joy that they belong to something that's bigger than themselves. And finally, you want to build a culture of collaboration so your knowledge, both personal and professional, can grow and propel your organization. We need a culture of collaboration so we can foster collective efficacy, so people feel safe and valued and fulfilled at work, and finally, so that our organization can be propelled by our collective knowledge. And it all sounds great in theory. Yes, 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 let's build a culture of collaboration. It sounds awesome, but it's much more challenging to actually put it into application and see it happening. Today, I want to tell you one more thing that you can do that's super applicable to instill a culture of collaboration that we've been talking about. So remember, in the last episode, I told you all about face-to-face sessions and how to master them. And the last strategy was to spur them on, to spur your educators on at the end of your face-to-face session. And when I tell you that you're going to spur them on, what I mean is you're going to generate a belief in what is possible. You're going to challenge them, you're going to encourage them, and then you're going to hold them accountable. And choice boards are the way to go about doing this. That there are logistics of a choice board. There are things that you do not want to do and things that you do want to do. And I've categorized those into not this, but that. And here's the first thing that we want to think about not doing. We do not want to provide too many choices, but instead we want to provide enough varied choices. When you provide too many choices on a choice board, that all too familiar phrase, too long didn't read, TLDR, comes into play. And that's exactly what happens for you and for me as educators and as people in general. When something is too overwhelming and too lengthy and too wordy, we decide that it's just too much to read and we set it to the side and move on. Or we skim it trying to look for the most important pieces. So we want to be sure that we don't have too many choices, but also we have enough varied choices to choose from. This is similar to that next bullet. We don't want to have too much overwhelming detail, but we do want to spark intrigue and interest. So how do we do that? Remember, our language matters. So you want to think about, how can I include some choices that make sense? How can I include details about those choices that give just enough detail to spark their interest, but not so much detail that they're turned off? Because again, with any choices that you make, they can morph into something different. So keep in mind when you're building this choice board that some of the choices that you have on there, you want to be sure that they can overlap and that the educator can build their own menu of sorts. They can build their own program based on their needs as a teacher or educator. We do not want to have multiple steps, but instead we want it to be user-friendly. So when you're creating your choice board, we don't want them to have to take the first step and read through the choices. We don't want them to then have to make a choice. And then after that, they find a QR code to go to. And then the QR code leads them to another online choice board where they can sign up. There are just too many steps, and you're going to lose interest, and you're going to lose your members who want to collaborate. Therefore, you want to make it super user-friendly. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use QR codes, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't make something available online. What I am saying, though, is that however you want people to sign up for something or choose something from your choice board, you want to be as user-friendly. You want it to be as user-friendly as possible. Succinct, to the point, quick. Because our other educators, our peers, have so many things on their to-do list and so many things in their mind that they want what's easiest and most efficient, just as you do. And then finally, we don't want to send out a mass email with our choice board, but instead we want to attack it through multiple avenues. Okay, here's what I mean by this, because this kind of seems like it negates my last point, where we don't want to have multiple steps for them to take. That's not true though. Instead, when I say we don't want to send out a mass email, we don't want to just do that, right? You don't want to send out like this blanket email and say, here's a choice board, sign up. Let me know what option you like. That's the wrong way to go about it. If that's the only way that you are supplying this to your audience. Instead, along with that email, you might decide to put it in a newsletter. You might decide to put it on the bathroom walls. You might decide to send it through your administrator. You might decide to take it personally to them, to their classroom, which is actually the best option, because you want to make that face-to-face touch point. Share it with them and say, so excited you've come to our collaborative study. I wanted to see which of these choices you were thinking about taking to continue studying whatever it is that you're studying. So for me, for our first collaborative study is classroom management strategies. So I fully intend at the end of our first face-to-face session to have choice boards ready and to provide them to them. And before they leave the face-to-face session, ask them personally, face-to-face, what are you thinking about doing to continue learning about this? What would you like to do with me and partner together in order to continue investigating classroom management strategies? Okay, I know you're so ready to see the example that I have for an actual choice board that I plan to use. I'm going to share that with you, and then you're going to get the Canva template to create your own choice board. Here's what I've included on mine. I have 8 different options. Now, to me, 8 seems a little, almost like too many. However, I just couldn't limit it to 6. Ideally, it would be between 6 and 8 options. My first is going to be 8 options. And it really depends on what it is that you're studying or what you're wanting your teachers to come to, like what kind of work you're wanting them to do. My 8 choices start off with read all about it. And here's the pitch that I provide underneath that, the details that are included. What are you most interested in learning about? I can provide relevant articles, books, or websites for you to peruse. I just keep it at that. Because here's the thing, if they choose read all about it, then they know that, number one, with the question I've provided, they get to choose what they're most interested in. And second, they don't have to actually go out and dig through the research or through the articles and texts to find what it is they want to learn more about. I've taken that on for them. So all they have to do is tell me, I'm really interested in learning about XYZ. Maybe they say, I'm really interested in learning more about time management. So I can do the work of looking through the best practices and the most current and reliable research and find things that would be great for them to read. Not only that, but then I get an eye into what it is that they're reading about and can have further conversation with them about it. And I can take that to other people who are possibly interested in the same thing. And I can say, so-and-so chose to read all about that. Let me share with you what I've shared with them. Or even better, if I'm wanting to build that culture of collaboration, I can say, so-and-so has been reading about that. Let me connect you with them. Maybe we can all meet for coffee and chat about it. The second option they have on the choice board is observation feedback. Here's my question, my tagline. Want feedback? And that's it. It's as brief as that. I'll come observe based on an area of interest and we can debrief together. Right? No strings attached. It's very simple, very straightforward, but also gives them options within options. So maybe you want observation feedback. Guess what? I'll come and observe what it is that you are interested in. Third option, proactive planning. Now, I chose this word specifically, proactive, because I didn't want to leave it at just planning or lesson planning. Instead, because we are going to be investigating and collaborating around classroom management strategies, I wanted to include language that appealed to the idea that if we're thinking about great classroom management strategies, then we are absolutely being intentional and proactive when we're planning. Therefore, on my choice board, I included the word proactive. So here's what it says in the description. Let's think about a specific outcome you're hoping for your students and proactively plan together. Bam. Simple as that. Very quick, easy, to the point. Even though your description will be brief and succinct, again, remember, your verbiage, your language matters. So think about it as you're typing it out. What's going to appeal to your audience? Or choice number 4 is co-teaching. Here's the description. Eager to try something but need a partner? I can be your co-teacher in a variety of ways. So again, I'm stating that question, is this what you're looking for? Guess what? Here's what I can provide. And again, I tagged the end of that with in a variety of ways. So they know that this is open. This is up to them. I want to empower them to make the choices. Choice number 5, modeled strategy. So here's where I tell them that I can come in and model. Want to try a strategy but not sure what it looks like in action? Let's plan a modeled lesson. Choice number 6, make and take. Here's the description for make and take. Maybe we've investigated some things and now you're ready to create. We can have a make and take session. I'm leaving it very open as to what it is we can make and take. But this is such a great way to build a culture of collaboration because I'm giving them ownership and accountability of what it is they want to create, what they want to make and take. But I'm also opening up the possibilities of us joining together and creating something together. Again, this is one of those times where if they choose to make and take, I can share with so many other people, hey, we're going to be doing a make and take session together and we're creating this. If you want to join, come and join us. Here's the other beautiful thing that I love about make and take sessions. When you are making things and creating together, it's very much a natural progression of conversation. It's extremely organic because you're doing something with your hands, which takes away the awkwardness, and your mind is at ease. So you're opening up a safe and vulnerable environment. Choice number 7, video reflection. Now, this is very rare that people choose this option, that choose this choice. For whatever reason, people get really uncomfortable when they have to video themselves. But I still like to leave it as an option. Here's what I included in the description. Sometimes it helps to see yourself in action. I can provide possible reflection forms and we can chat after. I strategically included the term provide possible reflection forms because I want them to know that we can adjust this reflection based on their needs and what it is they're looking for. Not only that, when I included the phrase we can chat after, it gives two assumptions that they can make. They can make the first assumption that they're going to watch it on their own and then we can chat after based on what they noticed. Or they might take on the assumption that they're going to video, they're going to watch it, I'm going to watch it, and then we'll chat. And I'm okay with them making either assumption. I'm going to let them make the assumption, and then if they question it, I'll give them the choice of you can do either. I don't have to watch it or I can watch it. It's completely up to you. Choice number 8, peer observation. Here's the description. I'll come cover your class so you can watch a peer. Then we'll visit about what you noticed or are wondering. I love this choice. And I hope for people to choose it, but here's what we have to be careful about. If they choose peer observation, we want to be mindful of the possibilities of who they go observe and for what reasons, which means we have to know our teachers well, which also means those teachers that they want to go observe have to be okay with it and have to feel a sense of trust and vulnerability themselves. And that's where that relationship and that culture of collaboration can continue to grow. Because if I'm going to another teacher and I'm saying, hey, so-and-so would really like to come and observe you doing X, Y, and Z. That gives them a chance to work with me, and I can coach them to a place where collaboration is actually possible. At the bottom, you're going to include contact information, and that's the last piece of your choice board. Now, it's not a choice, but it's a really important piece to this choice board. Your contact information is really simple, right? And you still want to leave it even if you think everyone has your contact information. Again, this is your one-stop shop. You want them to see it, be able to use it. We want to make it user-friendly. But here's what's even more important about your contact information. You're going to want to include a phrase or a sentence that really pulls them in as a person that's possibly going to make this choice. What is it that's going to cause them to make the choice to partner with you? And here's the phrase that I included. When you decide what will empower you as a learner and as a teacher, reach out to me and we'll plan to partner, or we'll partner to make it happen. This is where I spiral back to my why as an instructional coach. My mission is to empower educators who are inspired by a culture of collaboration. And the way that I do that is by implementing collaborative studies with them. And one of the things that I give to empower them is a choice board, so that then we can partner together to make change happen. It's all very strategic, and yet it's all very organic. And so now it's your turn to start thinking about how you can create your own choice board. You can grab the Canva template. It's all yours to take and use and recreate into something that makes sense for you and the teachers and educators that you serve. And now that we've come to a close for that, what's next? In the next episode, I'm going to be telling you about how to close a strong collaborative study. We've come to the end. We're thinking about how to close this collaborative study so that people want to come back for more in the next collaborative study, and I'm going to share with you some ways that you can make that happen. Remember, you can catch me on catchingupwithkc.com, on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flippity flip.